Hey, everybody, Off the Mic Sports Network here. Another edition of Off the Top Rope. Okay, I know people get tired of me talking about Mercedes Monet, but the internet and just the way this fan base reacts to certain things and some of the reasonings behind the defense of the TBS and now 75-time whatever champion she is, and trying to justify that this is actually working and this is actually a good thing, and that hey, this is all like to a coronation of her being the goat of women's wrestling. And that's one thing. Okay, like I've always thought of Mercedes as one of the great wrestlers and one of the people that really shaped women's wrestling to where it is today. But she's gotten exposed. There's been no character development whatsoever. There's been no real compelling stories that have been told with her in the last year. All of the equity that she came in with has pretty much dwindled out to the point where it has gotten comically ridiculous how bad this has gotten. We've thrown around the you know, insert Hogan on certain people for the way that they're booked. This is literally like a female version of Hulk Hogan that's playing out. Because with Becky Lynch, she had two belts for like a month. Charlotte Flair, yeah, she won a bunch of championships. Vince McMahon loved her, whatever. I don't like how Charlotte has conducted business, but she did good business at WrestleMania, even though the build of it and maybe how she was reacting about it hasn't done. Charlotte has not won a significant match really since the Royal Rumble. She won a couple of enhancement matches in the build up to WrestleMania, but she didn't get in to Money in the Bank. She lost a Queen of the Ring quarterfinal match where Alexa Bliss beat her to the count. Like Becky Lynch, I understand that she's got a championship, but hey, look what's happening. Lyra Valkyria feels like a bigger deal. Bailey and her are going to run back a feud that's dated back 10 years that feels infinitely more interesting than a lot of people would have thought years ago that these two would be in an interesting feud, and they're elevating a new championship. The fuck is Mercedes Monet doing that is really even helping anybody? And some people will get mad at me and say, well, Mike, why are you mad? She won a CMLL championship on AEW. It's like, guys, that was the only 10 minutes of a women's show that lasted 150 minutes, 2.5 hours. And you mean to tell me that that's a good thing? But this is what really set me off, among many things, because people are trying to say, well, she's getting what she deserves. I was like, do you need 6 championships to really validate your legacy? You already were considered one of the greatest of all time and largely underappreciated in WWE. And yes, there was bad decisions, but let's not forget, she main evented at WrestleMania. She's a multi-time women's champion. Could she have been booked better? Yes. This is taking it off the deep end. But what really set me off is some AEW sickos in Mercedes stands first off, they invoke the name of Kenny Omega because he had a similar belt collector gimmick in 2021. The AEW men's division was still red hot, where people were coming after and challenging him, where even at multiple, you had Jack Perry coming in and having a great match with Kenny. You had, Orange Cassidy, and then Christian Cage gets a bit of a push, where he beats him for the Impact Championship on one of the first episodes of Rampage. I think it was the first episode of Rampage, wins the championship, and then that leads and feeds into what they did at All Out. And then ultimately, Kenny just dropped all the belts, and ultimately it ended up, very publicly, him losing to Hangman Adam Page and passing the torch, which was a big moment in AEW history. So, and Kenny did not have 6 or 7 championships, and he wasn't carrying around a Owen Hart replica title that they just won because you won some tournament. That's the first thing. What really set me off was some people invoking the name of Roman Reigns and saying, all you WWE fans mad at Mercedes, why don't you have the same energy for Roman Reigns? What? I understand that Roman Reigns' title reign went on maybe for a year too long, but there was so much story within that. Jey Uso became a big deal. Solo Sikoa became a big deal. Jimmy Uso became a big deal. You had Drew McIntyre, and it made fucking Cody Rhodes an even bigger star than he already was. Roman, the whole thing, by the way, the whole thing with Roman holding 2 championships, by the way, and unifying those, that was a Vince McMahon idea that took them multiple years to get out of. They didn't really ever get out of it, but it was Vince wanting to have Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns have the biggest WrestleMania match of all time. It was dumb, but at least with the buildup into that, there was some story there with Roman being the tribal chief and running roughshod over WWE. And still, there was genuine interest in seeing people take him down. Sami Zayn and his chase, Kevin Owens and his chase of it, Cody Rhodes and his chase of it, Jey Uso rising up. And no matter how you feel about Jey Uso has felt important in large chunk because of Roman Reigns. So all you people who are trying to just rationalize and turn this into, oh my God, she's turning into like the tribal chief of women's wrestling. There is nobody, there is nobody in this division, in AEW, anywhere that you can build up and honestly convince me, because by the time we get to the point where she's going to have to drop all these titles at some point. So all of these are just accessories. So how dare you people in the wrestling community trying to make this about Roman Reigns, who had one of the greatest title runs of all time? Yes, did it go on for a little bit too long? At least there was a story connecting it. And yes, I understand Roman didn't appear, and maybe you could, the one argument you can knock on Roman is he didn't appear as much near the end of this, and Mercedes is showing up. Here's a fun fact. You want to know how many times Mercedes has defended the TBS title this year? I think it's 5 times. Why is that title? Why is that title not on? Why is it not title for title at all in Texas? And they're really in a no-win situation at Globe Life. They really are, because either Tony Storm wins and Mercedes getting built up means literally nothing because you're giving the rub to somebody who is already considered one of the best in the world. You're not making a new star, and then what's the story after that? Like, Mercedes is going to have her downfall? Like, then what was the point of her winning all the championships in the first place? This is an absolute ego trip. This is not Roman Reigns. This is not a run of dominance. This is not being the best female wrestler in the world. This is a absolute unmitigated ego trip of epic proportions that I have not seen. And fuck me for just, wanting to praise this woman and wanting her to see, because I was thrilled when AEW got her a chance, because I was like, WWE didn't treat her right. But maybe they knew something, and this is what we're getting. So I don't know why you guys get consistently mad at me. A lot of the opinions that I have are valid. Also, they're my opinions. I don't have to agree with you either. But I don't know how you can look at this and basically even try to compare it to Kenny Omega or even try to compare it to Roman Reigns. What in the fuck is this accomplishing? This doesn't do anything. At least there were stars that were being made. There are no stars being made by Mercedes Mone through all of this. The only star that is being made is Mercedes. And if you want to know my opinion, this is not doing anything for her career. It's just making her look petty and making her look ridiculous. So if you're going to come at me, like, I understand that some of you are fans, but if you're going to come at me with names like Roman Reigns and Kenny Omega trying to, dismiss people like me from saying, hey, this is bullshit, that's not a good argument. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys. Bye-bye.